Well, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everybody. It's Tom from Came to Believe Recovery, and welcome to our weekly edition of Recovery Live. It is Friday, September 2nd. I cannot believe that we're in September already. Um, it's just the summer goes so fast around here. I'm in New Jersey in the Northeast, and the summer seems to blink by, and the winter seems to drag on and on and on. We've had a really exciting week. As you guys were with us last week, I was in um, Indianapolis. Well, actually, we were in North Webster, Indiana, holding our first retreat. Along with that, we were in Loma Mar, California, with a retreat running, and we were also in Kent in the UK. And today we have some of the leaders from those retreats joining us. So Dee, who wasn't able to join us last Friday because she was at retreat getting it running, she'll be joining me here in a minute to talk about what happened at the retreat and the excitement and everything that's going on over in the UK. And Don Z from California is going to join us to talk about how it all went in California. When I think about it, guys, it was like 180 people, I think, total that heard the life-saving message last weekend. And it sounds like a lot, but it's really a scratch in the surface of addiction around the country and around the world. We'd really, really love to be able to put 100 of these on everywhere where everyone is hurting. If you have any interest in helping us, you can reach out to Casera to be a volunteer. We're looking for volunteers all the time. And if you want to donate to us so that we can go out and spread this message quicker, some of this is about money and being able to move our teams around and get them into these places where we need to be. We want to go as quickly and as fast as we can. A couple things coming up, guys. If you're in California, maybe in Nevada, maybe in Washington State, I don't know. The 16th through the 18th of September, we have a retreat in Nevada City, which is right in the foothills of the Sierra Mountains. I mean, it is gorgeous at the Del Oro Camp Center. It's a Salvation Army camp. And it's like brand new. We went there last year. I think we were like the first or second group that was ever there. It's really one of the nicest locations. It's the nicest location we have retreats in the United States. And it's going on in September. There's openings. We'd love to see you come out. Beautiful weekend and hear the message of the founders, where we're going to take you through 1 through 8. We're going to get you to commit to doing your 9th step and give you some instruction on it. And then we're going to instruct you on how to live 10, 11, and 12, which is what we have to do for the rest of our lives, guys. It says that we're going to commence this way of living. And so we got to know how to do it and then get ready to go ahead and live our lives free of addiction. Sorry about that. I've dropped stuff on the floor. And the second meeting, guys, is in New Jersey. So if you're in the New York metropolitan area, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, Jonathan Klein, that's you too, if you're interested. The Schoolies Mountain Retreat, which we haven't had in a couple of years now, guys. We've skipped 2 years because of COVID. We're going to have it this year on the 7th to the 9th of October. It's in Hackettstown, New Jersey. It's totally within reason for you guys on Long Island or in the city, even northern New Jersey, even as far as Philadelphia or anywhere in Pennsylvania. Come join us the 7th through the 9th on Schoolies Mountain. We have a hay ride and we have an unbelievable bonfire. And again, we'll be spreading the message of recovery. So those are the two next events we have are in California, September 16th through 18th, and the 7th through the 9th, October, here in New Jersey. You can go to our website, cametobelieverecovery.org, and register. And we'd love to see you there. I will be at both of those retreats, actually, this year. So great news for us. Without further ado, guys, I really want to bring everybody on. Let me bring on my guest today, and then let's welcome some of the people watching. I want to welcome Dee, kind of from Manchester, England. That's where she is right now. And Don Z from San Jose, I think he is, or he's going to correct me if he's not in San Jose.
Saratoga, San Jose area, yeah.
San Jose.
Yep.
What does your shirt say, Don?
It's the old Dope Fiend shirt. It's an NA convention. It says 4 decades of hope.
4 decades of hope.
One of my buds went to the convention a few years ago and said, "Hey, you need to have this T-shirt." So the rotational T-shirt theory, the clean ones go on the bottom, and you pick the one off the top, and this was it for today. Voila!
You've got a good message there from Tom, from Matt Enland, who was with you and worked with you and learnt from you last week. So that's really exciting. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Matt. Yep, we had a great weekend with Matt, shared his story as our keynote speaker, and it was really, really fabulous. He has such a story to share. And as did others at the retreat. I wonder how you guys worked out there in the UK, Dee. I know that you had record numbers. Tell us a little bit about how it went in Kent, so our viewers know, we're alive and well, in many ways, really, really strong over there in the UK. 53 new people, right?
56 in the end. So, yeah, it was, I think that as far as I know from the history, since I got involved with Came to Believe in 2005, and I started the retreats about 12 years ago. I can't remember exactly when it was, that for actually running retreats. And as far as I know, in the UK, it's the biggest number we've had. And I'm quite willing to be told I'm wrong on that, but that's been my experience. So I think it's like 70. Well, we had 78 people attending. And out of that, obviously, we had to have people to listen to the step fives and also to support with service, at the retreat. So we had 56 people. We usually have, 35, 36 people. And we always thought that was a big number. But we have 56 people. And actually, in our main room, taking people through the 12 steps, through steps 1 to 5, and then in the afternoon, from steps 6 to 9, which we do in one room, as you know. We do that first, and then we took them through at that point, and it wasn't overcrowded. People were amazing. I mean, they were just so engaged. I mean, considering they're like people like myself who are, that needed to recover, and maybe had some of the restless, irritable, and discontent going on. I swear that the spirit dropped on that room because everyone was just so engaged, and it was wonderful. It was a really great thing to be part of. And as you know, Tom, I wasn't 100% health-wise at the retreat, and I was a little concerned. But again, the power came in, and I was able to do what was needed to be done. So there was 56 in the main room. Then we had music on the Saturday night, and we had a lot of people turn up for that. And then in the morning, we had steps 10, 11, and 12, which Terry, who's one of our team, took people through that. And then we had the Came to Believe meeting, where people who had been to the retreat speak about what's happened. And we just had too many people. We couldn't get everyone up to speak about what had happened. It was really great. But I just also wanted to say that we always do a follow-up to any retreat in the USA. You can do the same. On a Tuesday, we have a meeting. So people have heard about 9 to 12 at the retreat and how to work it. And we spend a reasonable amount of time on it, but then people go home and then they don't do it. You know what I mean? Or forget about it. And so we have a meeting on a Tuesday, which is around 8 o'clock in the UK, which is about noon in California time. And I don't know, what's that, about 5 hours before for you guys. So it's about 5 o'clock for you, isn't it? 4 o'clock at the moment. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. 3 o'clock. Oh, that's it. It's 3 o'clock. Yeah. How many fingers did you show? And I had to go 5 and 4. I mean, I go 5, 4, even though you've shown 3. So, and 45 people turned up, and majority of them were people who'd been to the retreat, and they wanted to know more about 9, 10, 11, and 12. I mean, our core group there were like, oh gosh, what's, like, wow, it was really, really wonderful. So there's something happening in the spirit that's really quite powerful. I don't know what to say. 3 retreats in a weekend, and then all this power going on over what you would say and we would say over the pond. So it's amazing. anyway, so that's my update on Kent.
Thanks, Dee. And we have Robbie Carroll, who is commenting. He was at the retreat. Matt Enlund was at the retreat with us. So some of the people that were with me are on our chat with us today. Anna Branson. Hi, Anna. You know, Anna, we met with Darcy, who came to the retreat. She's from Kentucky too. So Anna, we're gonna try to hook you and Darcy up to come down to Kentucky. So a lot of what happened with us in Indiana, Dee, was seating for the next one. And seating for in Kentucky, believe it or not. We also had some people, we went and stayed as part of what we did, Dee and Don, and whether you know this stuff or not, is when we went into Indianapolis, we also went into the county jail and we spoke to the drug court guys and some people that are two probation officers about what we do and the opportunity that they would begin referring or at least suggesting that the Came to Believe program is an option for people as they come out of jail, they're coming out of drug court, you know, for some of the other things they're doing. And they were very much on board. Not only that, we had one of them attend the retreat for the weekend. They actually came to see how it went. And this woman was just lit on fire and said she was going to go around the county. And these are some of the least to last, the hurting people coming off all sorts of different troubles in their life. So it was a real success in that regard, a seeding of the area. You know, we brought the team in to do it, Dee, and it worked like a champ. They're already talking about doing it in the next 6 or 8 weeks with 3-4 times the people. We're trying to figure out even how to do it, if we can even do it before Christmas, but it was fabulous.
I would suggest that, you know, like we're talking about numbers and, you know, in the end, it's not about numbers, it's about quality. Right. But it was wonderful to have a lot of people, very exciting. But the thing I'll just say is we've been doing this for 12 years over here with that retreat. And post-pandemic, I think there's people in need. A lot of the rehab centres have closed down in the UK because they couldn't survive after the pandemic. So I think that's affected things. But also, you know, we've been working a long time for the word of mouth. And some of you guys, you're starting up the newer retreats. It does take a little while for the word of mouth, but there's a lot of people attended who didn't know anybody. It's great. I mean, what I will say is whoever is listening, go into your AA, your NA, your CA, your OA, your Al-Anon meetings and tell them about Came to Believe. I mean, what you can do, we have voted in on the group conscience within the traditions, within everything about, you know, keeping within AA traditions. We had it voted in on group conscience that we announced the retreats because so many people have done so well, you know, and that's the right thing to do. We don't just come in and just start telling people because we're not AA or CA. So we, you know, we got that voted in and that gets the message out there. So I think there's some stuff which is about, it builds up, you know.
Yeah. I want to say hi to Kelly Pipes, who apparently was with you guys over there in Loma Mar. Don, I don't know if you know her, but Kelly, I'm sure, I don't know if that is a woman I shouldn't, or a man. I'm apologize if I've gotten it wrong. Taryn Price, hi Taryn, there today. And Danny Richards in Kentucky date yet? Yeah, not yet, Danny, but we will. Don, tell us about Loma Mar. How'd it go out there, brother? And
oh my gosh, it was kind of a failure. Just kidding. It was awesome. And just to clarify, Kelly Pipes is a beautiful young lady that traveled from Placerville, which is quite a way. Just Came to Believe on the website, on Google somewhere, and just like said, you know what? I've tried everything else, and I'm going to give this a shot. And what's so cool is the miracle of the grace of recovery just went bam. And this young lady just was like the little bud, but she fully bloomed over the weekend. And then we saw her at an aftercare meeting on Monday night too. So really cool. Loma Mar was amazing. You know, what's so cool is that this in-person retreat was a repeat from a couple months ago. And I know that Tom and the crew, and we had opportunity to do our presentation for the Came to Believe retreat at the Residential City Team campus, the men's treatment center, and then the ladies came in too. It was a beautiful time of 40 240 plus 50 people in these residential facilities got to hear the message of the hope of life change through the 12 steps, the way the founders did it. But Tom and the posse that came out to help facilitate that from the Came to Believe family got on the very windy mountain road. And oh my gosh, did we hear? You just don't have those kind of roads in New Jersey. I know that, and probably not in the United Kingdom either. So
Might be one or two places, but not many.
Yeah. Well, it was great, and just a majestic setting. Some of the original stands of redwoods were the backdrop, and just a gorgeous facility. And what was so good was all the kinks were ironed out from the first retreat. So this was a flawless effort where the owners of the retreat, or the folks that were running the facility, just kind of let us go, and we had our own thing to do. I think that numbers wise, there might have been 20 new folks there. There was a host of volunteers, and this is a big deal. And this is something that needs to be heard from the new folks that are new to the Came to Believe processes. Once you've gone through a retreat with just a bit of training, you too can be like a fifth step hearer. There's a way that you can listen and just get involved in this life change. It doesn't matter how long you're sober. You don't have to be, you're recovered once you go through the process. And this is how we sustain this, and this thing gets to grow. It's an incredible thing how the volunteerism happens. And we got to talk about this just a little bit in some of the step presentations at Lomar. It's like, there's an old saying that what the devil meant for bad, God will cause for good. Right now, if it hadn't been for the pandemic, the Northern California area has a satellite group of various little pockets that are around that are facilitating and putting on these little satellite Came to Believe retreats. And if it hadn't been for that, we wouldn't have found the group that's just so fascinating and alluring. And it's magnetic. There's a spiritual magnetism to people that are saying, hey, I'm recovered, baby, and this is what happened to me. That's my story too. When I first popped on the first virtual retreat, I said, wow, this is pretty cool, because I've been working with guys for a long time, for decades, through the big book. And, all of a sudden you give instructions as to how to do the 4-step, and bam, where'd they go? I don't know. I don't know what happened. So if I worked with hundreds of guys, maybe dozens made it through, right? But not so here. Not so here. We just get done with this thing, and you begin this process, and it's just fascinating. But
I was going to say, you just mentioned about your windy road. So I've just seen that Melissa has noted that in Wales they've got those windy roads, and also, you just mentioned the redwoods. So if anyone wants to come to the Minster Acres, which is in Cumbria, so Cumbria right in the north of England, the Minster Acres, they brought redwoods over from Canada, and we've got redwoods as you drive into the retreat, which is really amazing.
You'd feel right at home, Don.
Excellent. As long as we don't drive off the cliffs like we did in Blackouts. Wait a minute. Yeah.
Right.
That's
so Donnie, you're going to come to Minster Acres to see our redwoods.
Part of my story. Okay, let's do that thing. See, now look what happens. Just because you smoke too much dope, drink too much whiskey, you get to go to England and hang out with Dee and the family out there. I just want to throw this one thing in that I thought was, it just struck me this time around at this particular retreat. And it's the reality of the breakout rooms. After we have the first introduction, and you got the first breakout room together, and you got 4 or 5, I think we had 5 guys in our room. You just get to hang out, and there's bonding opportunities that, you come in, and recovery predominantly is a lonely despair type of thing. It's not like we We got in here because we're clicking on all cylinders and we're best friends and the
Mhm.
most popular people in the world. We're desperately alone. And in meetings, in secular, regular recovery meetings, you don't have this opportunity for listening to what other people are going through, and you don't feel alone. It's the beginning of the melt of the iceberg, where people are just getting blessed to say, man, I'm not the only one. And then it's the perpetual bonding that you can walk away with those contact infos from those people that you have in the small groups 3 or 4 times that you meet in the course of the retreat. Bang, you got a lifetime homies.
So one of the things actually done, so that we don't confuse everyone in the UK, is that we don't have small groups. We go through the steps with one group, and then they go for step 5s afterwards. The small group work is done with people returning, so we just have a little bit of a different setup. But I'm just noting that Sarah Craig is there. I just wanted to say hello to Sarah. She enjoyed Aylesford, and she's got a Came to Believe sponsor after it. So hello, Sarah.
Yeah, that's Don, just to dovetail on that, and that is true. There's that difference. Dee, I'm glad that you highlighted that, because so that anyone in the UK doesn't scratch their head. But Don, when we had the small groups in Indiana, a few people that had come from Wisconsin, where there's some retreat there that haven't moved to doing that, they said we need to do this, because the guy said a lot of what connection was made in our small group, because they learn the step, then we go into the small group and we talk to each other, and there was a lot of power and growth to it. So I'm with you. We go in and we sit around and we talk about it for, it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes with 5 guys, and then we go back into the meetings. So I had the same experience at our retreat. It's the small group.
It's a good thing to discuss it though, Tom, because
Yep.
We don't have the amount of rooms that you have in the UK. We hire out a building, and the cost is, that's what we get. So we don't have separate space for that, and we would need more people to recover and to come through our speaker and leadership engagement to be able to do that, to have enough people. If you've got 56 people, it's a lot of small groups. So I'm just being open about this. We need some ideas if we want to go that way. But I'm quite comfortable, because that's what Clarence originally did with the cinema. They got a big group of people and took them through the steps. So one of his sponsors owned a cinema. I can't remember the name of him. You might remember, Tom. And that was the first time that they took a big group and took the whole group through. So it's I'm just saying that is good, but we're having a good experience over here, even though, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, we take everybody through the steps in the big group. There's just small group breakouts afterwards in between the steps for people to just share a little. And there is some logistics involved, and we've worked on those logistics over time here. So you're right, Dee. Some things like, where does everybody go to meet? And these small groups, some of them just go outside, 4 or 5 people, and we do. But it does take some logistics, right, Don? I mean, we are talking about leader training, and we have trained people to just lead a small group. So anyway, it's just one of those things where we're having great success everywhere, and we're spreading that message. It's just so exciting to me to know how many people were in a retreat this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Across half the world,
Yep.
And this has not happened before. So
wildly successful. And you know what? This is what it looks like when it's just starting, right? And then the people that have already gone through the retreats, you just, like Dee was mentioning, and when I go to my AA meetings, I'm just there. Sometimes I'll bring the legacy guide, which is the one constant thing of the worldwide effort of Came to Believe, and say, look, people are getting sober in a weekend here. They're working the 12 steps the way the founders did it. And it's staggering. And I've never not had a positive reaction when I do that. So it's not like there's somebody waiting to jump you because you're doing something different than the norm. It's like, no, this is like the greatest thing since tortillas. So let's get on the boat here. Come on. Let's do this thing. Just jump in. But then the great thing is all these folks, and I just love the little chat bar on the side of this format. These people are wondering, when am I going to have a retreat in Kentucky? Well, you need a posse. You need some folks to help facilitate that. Some people to be in there, and we can do that. So, and then there's also a January virtual retreat coming up with Came to Believe. Yeah. So, and that's where we started from, in the Northern California satellite that we've that God's grown up. So looking forward.
Yeah. So Don and Dee, think about this a minute, and I'll start. I guess some people might be listening and hearing and thinking, oh my gosh, it's this intense therapy weekend and it's all so heavy and hard, and it's not that way. There's a lot of fun. There's a lot of easy time, and there's time for everybody to be, we're not a glum lot. We kid around a lot. And the fun time we had in Indiana, believe it or not, is we went on a riverboat paddle boat ride. So Kerry Toon, the leader, had set up his paddle boat on the lake that was near there for Saturday evening. So after everybody had gone through the steps, we were done with 9 and everybody was just mentally exhausted. We all put our sweatshirts on or brought them with us. We went on this paddle boat and went around this lake, and we just had some great fellowship, some fun. We had some popcorn, and Alicia, rolled her eyes at all of us because we were eating popcorn, and she doesn't want any of us eating that kind of junk. But then we have fun with her because we don't care. We did it anyway.
Yeah, well, it's not that one, is it? It's not. We're not there to tell other people what to do.
What to do, right? And we did that for her. And actually, she grew a little bit because she didn't want to go, and we all kind of said, "Let's go, let's go." So that was a great, fun time that we had. We had this wonderful time, and it was great bonding experience outside of the intensity of the weekend. And so, what do you guys do? What did you guys do in Loma Mar Saturday night, Don?
Oh my gosh, we have some of the best karaoke singers in the world. Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. It was spectacular. First of all, we had it's almost tough to put into words the touching keynote speaker that we had on Saturday night. Yeah, named Carol from Northern California, just laid it out there about her food addiction struggles. And the beautiful testimony of God's life-changing power was stunning. But just to wrap it up, I mean, there were several hours of people howling to various well-known songs over the balcony, into the redwoods, into the stars, even the wild turkeys that were running around, not the ones in the bottle, but the other ones. They were all their wings and flapping. But then there was a casual campfire each night, too, with guys that kind of monitored it, and there was the s'more stuff and all the good things that can just kind of happen where we're just getting out of our shell of new or long time to recovery. And you know what? It's not just about being new to recovery. It's just like if you could be like me, a long time sober guy, and this pop into Came to Believe recovery at first, I was just looking for kind of a pick me up, and it was the pandemic, and I didn't know what was happening. But man, it is life-changing and rewarding and beautiful. And it's all about the people getting sober and being recovered right away. I mean, right now. So, yeah, we had some fun.
What do you guys do in England, Dee, for fun?
Well, it's just fun all the way through. We actually, I know, serious. We were told that the energy was really high. I can see some of the people are there. I just wanted to make the note that Sarah is saying that her sort of experience was that they did loads of time. They had a lot of time for connection over food and walking and chatting. That it's a it's a big area. It's like the Carmelite monks, and they've just got this great big land, and there's just all these areas that people can walk and go. So, but actual fun, the things I can remember. So on the Saturday night, we have music, and we have a guy who sings some songs everyone can sing along with him. He's pretty cool. He sings some great music that touches the spirit, but doesn't try and push, his belief system down your neck. But he's just like, he loves God, and he writes his own stuff. So that was pretty cool, I think. The the two laughing experiences, because it really was, we did have loads of fun. There was, in the main room was me taking people through the steps, and I was asking the group, and remember I've got 56 people here, including some guys, loads of guys, real lads, what we call real lads, you know, that really are, you know, like guys, you know, with our humor. And you know, and I said something that what we call a double entendre here, where you can get this double meaning. Wow. I mean, the whole room collapsed in the middle of this double, and I'm not even going to say what it is because it's a bit dodgy, but it was hilarious. And it was, for me, I was really, really glad that I could be, you know, sort of, you know, like do something like that, and them to laugh with me. They didn't laugh at me, they were laughing with me about that. And then the second thing, which was laughter, was that we were on the last, it was after the Came to Believe meeting, everyone had been sharing. I was trying to just tell people about, okay, about your keys and about this, you know, like all the boring stuff. Oh my gosh, everyone just started, they were just full of so much fun, and everyone was laughing, talking, giggling, but it was really, it wasn't, again, it was just like the joy of the spiritual joy of that whole retreat. And so I would just say that it was just there all the time. There was one guy who wrote to me, so he never ever thought he could have so much fun all over a weekend. You know, these are just like people who've been through addiction, and they're like, a lot of people very young, they're not like boring, you know, they've been used to going out and having a bit of fun, and they thought we were fun, so we were fun.
Imagine that, Don.
Amen. I'm down with Brad Allman. My gosh, Renata Glum, not happy, joyous, and free. Let's just remember. I mean, do we have to remember more than forget that we've been set free from this bondage? And, you know, we had some pre-conversation just about the expense for some of the in-person retreats, depending on facility and all that stuff. But I mean, how much money did we used to spend in a weekend doing whatever?
Right.
You know, I mean, come on. And then you just drop it on the floor.
Right.
Or whatever.
Well, but, I mean, that the point, Don, is true, is that the value here is ridiculous. You know, when people have spent tens and tens of thousands on rehabs and things that in many cases haven't worked. And so to get 2 nights sleeping, 6 meals in a program for the money there's none that are over $300, and many are close to $200 if you're going to share a room. I mean, to save your life, I'm with you. Scrape it together, guys. Grab your family. Get somebody to give you the 20. There's people in your life that want to see you get better. I promise you. Go out there and see if you can put that money together and come see what happens in a weekend. Guys, we're not making it up. We've been doing this. Came to Believe's been doing it for 50 years. Before we even got ourselves a little organized here lately and tried to spread it more. So this is not something, and they were doing it since 1938 or in the Akron, Cleveland area. So this thing is a known entity, right, guys?
Oh my gosh. Well, and then you think about that, and that's your spiritual lineage through the stuff, the way the founders were taught through Dr. Bob, goes right back to where God just started this whole thing with the 2 folks in the spiritual mecca of Akron, Ohio in 1935, and has just blown this thing up. And it's just like, well, where else is it going to go? Well, it's wherever we take it.
Don't you think, Don, how interesting it is? Because you've joined us in the last couple of years, you know, that that Came to Believe has this lineage that you've just talked about. It's got this history, which is really serious. It's got the tradition deep in it of what the founders did. Yeah, it's a joyful place to be. It's like, you know, it's not over serious. I went into rehab and it was really serious. You know, it was really sensible and serious. It was like, I was like sat around being very sensible and serious and understanding that this was very, you know, I'd done a lot of things that were not good. But on the other hand, there were people admitting stuff they had never admitted in their lives. There was actually, I'll tell you, there was something that was very special there, Tom, and I've just thought about. I have never heard, and maybe it's because there were so many people there, but I've never heard so many people come up to me and say, I have just told somebody something I've never told anyone in my life.
Mm.
Now, usually I get one or two of those, like in a retreat, or somebody afterwards, we're like, we don't ever talk about anyone's stuff, but we might say, that we've had somebody who had an experience like that, and it's a wonderful thing, and that's good. But I was literally getting one after another. I mean, I was literally like, are you talking, I was like, am I talking to the same person I talked to 5 minutes ago? You're saying the same thing, which is that they either spoke to someone or someone was telling me that they had something they've never told anyone, and everything is completely confidential. Nothing, the person or the actual content would never be spoken about. But it's so exciting to see that, and then to see that, relief. I just remember myself, I just can't say it. I can't say to someone what it is, and often they're things that are criminal or sexual, and that they often are, these things. I'm not saying they always are, but often it is. And for somebody to be able to come to you and or come to the people that they trust, be able to say it. And the time it happened to me, when it happened to me a while ago, was that somebody said to me they had something they needed to say. And they said they couldn't say it, though. They just were going to have to speak to a nun, or like a priest.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? All I know is that God is really amazing, because towards the end of talking to that person, I came out with something which had happened when I was a child, which I had deep shame, but I'd sort of cut it off, and I said it, and it was a really something which I should have been, or not should have been, but I had some shame around, definitely shouldn't have, and it was exactly the same thing as the person, and they were able to share it with me. And we had a lot of that happen, at this retreat. And it may, as I say, there were so many people there that you were going to get more people, but I had a feeling as if there was a movement of the Spirit going through the whole process, that were freeing people up and getting them to be confident to be able to share this thing they've never ever shared before. And there is power. I've just seen what Anna Louise Branson is saying. There is I totally agree that speaking something loses power in the thing that's difficult, but there's something a bit more special about doing this with God, because I've done that sharing something in psychology with a counsellor, and yes, I feel the loss of the power, but this is like there's actually a cleansing process by the Spirit of God, because it comes through step 6 and step 7, and then all through the retreat it's like flowing. It's like, and I'm literally moving my hand, I can see that my hand is moving, but I'm doing it on purpose. It's like a flow through and a flow out and then in of cleaning and cleansing, and it's a full-on miracle. It's more than psychology, although I understand and I agree that to share it, say in a room or with somebody else, is good, but there's something more about when God is there.
Amen. Amen. And, that was one of the things I was kind of alluding to it earlier after my first virtual retreat experience. I was just like going, man, why am I so attracted to this? And then I did the second virtual retreat and I prayed the same thing. And then I heard the whisper that said, because there's a 93% success rate. That's why you're so attracted to this. And it's just like, are you kidding me? And what's a big part of that? Well, it's sharing the secret, but then it's also learning, how do you pass this on? And this is such an easy deal. I mean, we're talked about, it's not only spiritual, but it's an altruistic lifestyle in the doctor's opinion in the big book. Well, what does the constant thought of others mean? Well, it's just where we're at right now. Having had this spiritual healing as the result of the steps, so it's awakening. What is God sharing to us about how we can create opportunities for other people to get blessed, just like we've been blessed by this beautiful fellowship that God's just like said, here you go. Happen.
Yeah, and Brad Armand has just said, what is brought out from the dark is overcome by the light. We are only as sick as our secrets. And I know that, over in the UK, I know that Paul Doyle, who, brought the retreats over from Leesburg originally in the early 90s, he often talks about that. And I think he got that from Harold Hill, or one of the original founders that worked with BJ and with Sue Foreman and Steve. So I think that was, and I'm sure it's been used elsewhere, but I just remember a lot of people saying that.
Amen.
Don, it's what is so attractive to me. I remember when you came in. I mean, when you guys started this in the virtual, and you were like right there with us when we didn't even know if it was going to work. We were like, what are we going to do? Let's try it. We didn't have a choice, and it worked. When you get the experience of reaching the lost, the least, the last, the person who we reach them with this program right where they're at, and allow them to grow, because we have had that grace ourselves. There's something about that, right? That we're empowered differently than others in our ability to touch the addict and have them feel like they're at home. There's a lack of judgment on our side. There's just an openness and a love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they come to us, and then they're much more open to hear the message. And the message is that there's a God with the power. The plug in the wall for this program is God when he touches you. And we don't shy away from that for anyone listening to it. We just don't tell you what church to go to or anything, but we do say the program that the founders had, they connected with God, and then they did this stuff that we do. And you got to keep up this stuff and live those principles. But when you do, right, it's a miracle. And then right down as D and D too, you guys, as we watch these miracles happen, we get sucked in. And I get, you saw Casera put up standing outside the door. I get further and further from the door. It makes me want to run further and further from the door, which is that door to God, to find those people who don't even know where it is, and start to guide them in. It's been our kind of secret sauce, right?
Yep. And you don't know what the answer to prayer looks like.
Right.
So there's one proverb. I love that book because, when I first got into the walk, I needed God's wisdom and common sense more than anything else. And that's what that's about. One proverb says it's God's privilege to conceal things, and the king's or the queen's privilege, or our privilege, to discover and invent. And man, I never thought I had any creativity genes in me or anything. I was always so bored, and pour me another one, pour me. But these opportunities that just come up, and it's like, step 11, praying only for the knowledge of his will for me and the power to carry that out. How do we do this? Format's right here. It's staying plugged in. We can go through the website. I Came to Believe if we need issues or have questions about how do we continue this thing? How do we start this thing in our zip code? And bang, let's do this thing. Come on, baby. We're going to come visit you. I just was texting.
Minster Acres. Come to Minster Acres. Come and see the redwoods. Don, we need you.
Yeah. Well, and here's where I really want to go. I was just talking to some folks that were, because of the pandemic, they were secretaries for one of our aftercare meetings on Monday nights. And just like going, we've got to get this thing on the big island of Hawaii.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, baby. How many volunteers do we have to do that?
Right. All of a sudden, everybody wants to come.
Yeah.
Well, what a great show, guys. I mean, I know the three of us could talk about this all day long. We want to get everybody their opportunity now. Remember, guys, #recovered gets you a t-shirt. I guess Casera and I were thinking the same, because she said, put that up right when I said that. #recovered. Yeah, Robbie, Carol. Yeah, I know you're in for Hawaii. So is Anna, right, Don? Look, they're all in for Hawaii.
Right.
But when you ask them to go to, I don't know, Texas, nobody wants to go. But boy, they all want to go to Hawaii, right?
Well, come on. God put that there. Let's go.
So, guys, just want to reiterate, guys, we have a retreat in September, the 16th through the 18th in Nevada City, California, and then from the 7th to the 9th. And the other thing about the 7th to the 9th, guys, is, remember we said last week, you guys could actually meet Lisa, who's been behind the scenes. Now, I did find out this week, you all were wanting to meet Casera, who we all hear about, and she's scrolling things, and nobody knows who she is, right? All you guys. She will not be in Schooley's Mountain. So the mystery goes on for you guys who want to come and try to find Cassera. I said to her, it's going to be like finding Waldo. Where's Cassera? She'll show up at one of these retreats. But join us,
What's
guys,
Finding
because we have a lot of
Waldo?
fun. Huh?
What's Finding Waldo?
Oh, you never saw that? It's a picture book that it's like a puzzle. And it's a bunch of million different pictures, and there's one character called Waldo, and you have to find him in it, and it's hard. It takes time.
I think we've got
And
Wally. I think we find Wally. I think
you
so.
find Wally. Yeah.
Yes.
So. Yes, we know. It's a good reason. We know that, Cassera. She's going to school getting straight A's. But we'll meet her one of these days. So we got a lot of hashtag recovers. Yeah, Robbie Carroll will go to Texas. Guys, I want to thank you guys both for being with us today. All the work that you do. We couldn't do it without you guys. We're going to drive on. We got more things going. Our work is just starting. Dee, have a great rest of your weekend. It's Labor Day weekend. It's a holiday weekend here in the United States. I don't know if it is in the UK. Is it a holiday weekend there this weekend?
What, for us? No.
It's not. All right.
Not unless I've missed it. No, I'm just going to have a weekend off because it was a retreat last week, and I got a weekend off, and then I'm just trying to say, Minster Acres, I need volunteers to help. I'm just going to put the word out if that's all right. We need people. If you're UK people who've been through the Came to Believe retreat and recovered, get in touch with me and come up with me and help me to help the people there, because I need volunteers. So I'm just putting it out.
I think I'm coming too, Dee. We'll talk later, but things look like I'll probably make the trip over.
Don's going to come and look at the redwoods.
I got to get Donnie to come with me, but it's a big trip for you from California, Donnie. But
let's do this thing. Let's do it.
He wants to do it. Anyway, thanks, guys.
The things you get sentenced to do just because you smoke too much dope and drink too much whiskey. I mean, I'm in.
All right, guys. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you guys. Fune and Cassera, let's go and see how many people are on our recovered shirt giveaway and see what we're doing today. How many do we have? I think we had 19 last week, or 1 week we had 19. Let's see how many there are today. There's 11. So let's give it a second, guys. Hashtag recovered gets you an opportunity to win a shirt. Lisa will go ahead and send that to you after you give us your address. Anna Louise, you're funny. Things are too big in Texas for this small town Kentucky girl. Oh, Anna, we have to get you in Texas. We've been to Texas. It's been good. All right, we're still at 11. Anybody else? Let's go. You got that chance to win a shirt now. And if you want one and don't win one, you can go on our website and go ahead and purchase one. It helps. All the money goes to help addicts, guys, and people that need to get recovered. We know how economically challenged many people are, and so we want to do everything we can to support them. We've never turned anyone down because of money, but the money has to come from somewhere. So, and it comes from generous donations from you and buying t-shirts and stuff. And not only that, you are spreading the message with your shirt and getting people to ask you. And I'm wearing End Addiction today. I can't tell you how many times it happens more and more where somebody will say, oh, I love your shirt, and oh, I'm on board with that, or asks me something about it. And I've heard that from many people. So we're out there doing it. All right, Cassera, what do you say? Let's give it a shot. 11 people. Let's see who wins it. Jonathan Klein wins it. All right, Jonathan. Jonathan, you can wear it when you come to Schooley's Mountain, October 7th, and bring your lovely wife with you. And anyone else that's in your meetings and groups, guys, bring them out and hear that message that we just spread to all those people this weekend. And you guys also can have the fun that we have of being free, fun and great fellowship with people that are like-minded, and fun in the freedom that you get, and the process that you're taught to live in the go afterwards. And then people around that can support you for the rest of your lives. So I just want to thank again Dee and Don Z for coming on with us. We had half the world on our show today. We are doing that more and more often. We'll be back next week to talk to you again. And then a week after that, I'll be broadcasting from the foothills of the Sierras in Nevada City, and Alicia will be with me, and Dale Marsh will be with us out there in California. So other than that, guys, everybody here in the U.S., have a great Labor Day weekend. Relax, take it easy. Hope you all have something fun to do. And we'll see you again next week here on Recovery Live. Have a great day.